Reginald Sechi Brown. And Reginald is the advocacy chair for YPG PSGH. He's here with his members as well. And then we have Joseph Nelson Addy. Joseph Nelson Addy is the financial secretary of YPG PSGH. And then finally we have Michael Yao Asare, and he is the communication director for PSGH YPG. And then we also have you here. I would also like to recognize the presence of Ministry of Health and Pharmacy Director, Madam Joycelyn, Dr. Joycelyn Aziz. And then we also have our senior colleagues, Mr. Farm Abraham Jesse is also here. And then we also have a lot of our senior colleagues in our presence. Apologies if I'm unable to mention your name. Thank you. I would like to begin by showing gratitude and appreciation to all young pharmacists who have stood with us from the inception of the group. In agreement with Pablo Picasso, youth has no age. That is why we have young at heart also amongst us. So we are also very much grateful to our senior colleagues for being voices of direction and inspiration to us. We began this year with the creation of committees to augment the work of the executive body for the achievement of faster and lasting results. YPG members, in the words of Malala Yousafzai, the youngest Nobel Prize laureate, he said that when the world is silent, even one voice becomes powerful. Similar sentiments led to the formation of the Advocacy Committee. A strong belief in this statement spurred us on to rally behind our young colleagues, the FAMDs, and then the FAMD batch of 2021, in their recent quest to receive their appointment letters, clearance, and the remunerations due them. Being saddened by their plight, we served as a liaison between them and the various stakeholders through town hall meetings while advocating for them as well behind closed doors. Now we believe that to be able to project pharmacy to increasingly become an indispensable profession, we must develop young pharmacists who will spearhead the positive change we all desire to see. Hence, the formation of the Capacity Building, Mentorship and Employment Committee, as well as the Strategic Planning Committee of YPG. As friends of the human race, we would be doing a great disservice, not only to our fellow Ghanaians, but also the world at large. We are unable to shield them from and educate them on the health consequences of their actions. This necessitated the formation of the Public Health Committee. Finally, we have the Legal Committee, and we have lawyers who are young pharmacists as well, and they are part of our Legal Committee. The mirror through which we ensure our actions and inactions. So whatever circular that we bring out, our Legal Committee go through it before we bring those circulars out. The young pharmacists group in the Ashanti region deserves to be lauded for their proactiveness in holding the fort with their back-to-back programs, which include demystifying COVID-19 vaccines, antibiotics, over-the-counter medications, and the pharmacists during the World Pharmacist Day celebration. The young pharmacists thriving mentally, public health education during the World Antimicrobial Awareness Week in collaboration with Novartis, and the need of rising dosing of antimicrobial for pediatric patients once again with Novartis. From the previous AGMs to date has been nothing short of roller coaster rides, full of uncertainties and advocacies, especially for the 2021 FAMD year group. This particular batch was initially informed in October last year that after 6 years of studies and subsequently passing their GBPQE, they could not have an in-person inauguration as previous batches did. The Young Pharmacists Group, through its executives, upon hearing this, protested vehemently against the decision, advocating on their behalf until they were finally granted a physical inauguration at the Accra International Conference Center in February this year. Our kudos to one another was short-lived, since little did we know that the bigger fight lay ahead of us. Family and friends, as we may have already seen on the various social media, we are appalled by the fact that these colleagues of ours have not received their remuneration as house officers to date. To add insult to injury, they have neither appointment letters nor clearance to back their claim. I must commend the year group and its leaders for standing up for themselves instead of cowering behind the mask of fear and shyness. Even more so for their tenacity and patience to hold on with their strike action while negotiations are ongoing. Winston Churchill said, "Courage is what it takes to stand up and speak. Courage is also what it takes to sit down and listen." Both forms of courage have been demonstrated by the FAMD 2021 year group, and it is about time actions were aligned to their voice. The good book says in Proverbs 13:17, "Hope deferred makes the heart sick, but a longing fulfilled is a tree of life." That being said, the longer we drag our feet in providing a solution to their concerns, the harder we crush their spirit and destroy the hope of our noble profession. They have been paid several lip services, but it is time for words and action to align. We therefore appeal to all relevant stakeholders to do their necessary bits in granting the desires of our colleagues and those yet to graduate. The Young Pharmacists Group is still active and has a lot to accomplish this year and beyond. We urge all of us to come on board, even as we shine our light in our own small ways, carving a unique and special niche for our profession and ourselves, both locally and globally. We hope that you enjoy today's session, even as you have fun, while gaining insight from our various resource personnel. Long live YPG, long live PSGH. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Oh, please, you can do better than that for him. Okay, so you heard from him. Our main course is to spearhead a positive change through young pharmacists. Now, we've had a lot of people asking, YPG, what is it about? We've heard about YPG. People are always making noise on the pages. What do you do? We don't see you do anything. I know there are lots of people here ready to ask us certain questions and all that. So I'll call on the committee, the communications lead, to take us through the journey since the inception of YPG. What have we done? What bragging rights do we have? Please give it up for him even as he comes.
Thank you very much, Manuela. Thank you very much, everyone. So as Mr. Chairman rightly said, it's been a long road. We started 3 years ago with the help of senior colleagues and with the help of our colleagues and all young pharmacists nationwide. What we're about to show you is our journey from 2020, some of our key notable achievements, some of our partnerships with some notable companies in the country and outside of the country as well. We aim to show you where we've come from and how far we've come in only 3 years. And we urge you to show us your full support so we can even do more as we go forward to structure the profession to make it better for all of us and project pharmacy profession positively as young pharmacists, both local, national, and also international level. So if the technical team can help me out, can we play the journey? And as YPG, we always do things with a new style, and it's a digital journey that you're going to go through. Thank you very much, and thanks for your attention. So it will be rolling out very shortly.
president of YPG PSGH, that is a young pharmacist group of the Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana. And we were launched in September 2020 during the annual general conference of pharmacists in Ghana. 2020 was a very challenging year due to the COVID-19 pandemic, but YPG were able to put through some very powerful programs. Notable among them are the breast cancer and then the World Antimicrobial Awareness Week. We were able to engage several stakeholders, including pharmacists and also the general populace through various media, that is the television and then the radio. And we were able to engage so many people to campaign on how to take care of themselves. I believe that even though 2020 was a challenging year, we did make a whole lot of changes. 2021 has begun and YPG is on it again. We have done several programs to impact the younger generation, and we wish that whatever thing that we do, we'll get the support and then the mandate and also financial support from every stakeholder to make YPG very much impactful in our society. We'll be waiting for any feedback that you will have for YPG Ghana.
Now, I'm looking down from up in the sky. I don't like it. Oh, I've been without you for all this time. Good God, I'm bent out of shape now. You got a body like a model. You got a body that you always find. Open up a bottle, and baby, you can have whatever you want. You taste so sweet, I can't help myself. You like candy, you like liquid honey. You taste so sweet, I can't help myself. You like candy, you like liquid honey. Oh. We're moving places I can't control. I don't know how.
It's a group that pushes the interest.
Okay. Hello. Please, I hope we all saw what went on. The volume was a bit low at the beginning, so if you didn't even hear anything. Now, okay. IT team, could we please have a repeat of the video? Hello, media team, could we have a repeat of the video with a louder volume, even as Farm Joel Anaman mounts the stage?
It's a group that pushes the interest of young pharmacists here in Ghana. Our mission is to develop young pharmacists who will spearhead positive change at the local, national, and international level. Our vision is to project pharmacy to increasingly become an indispensable profession.
Hello, my name is Dr. Richmond Damana Nigeria. I'm the president of YPG PSGH, that is a young pharmacist group of the Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana. And we were launched in September 2020 during the annual general conference of pharmacists in Ghana. 2020 was a very challenging year due to the COVID-19 pandemic, but YPG were able to put through some very powerful programs. Notable among them are the breast cancer and then the World Antimicrobial Awareness Week. and we were able to engage several stakeholders, including pharmacists and also the general population through various media, that is the television and then the radio, and we're able to engage so many people to campaign on how to take care of themselves. I believe that even though 2020 was a challenging year, we did make a whole lot of changes. 2021 has begun and YPG is on it again. We have done several programs to impact the younger generation, and we wish that whatever thing that we do, we'll get the support and then the mandate and also financial support from every stakeholder to make YPG very much impactful in our society. We'll be waiting for any feedback that you will have for YPG Ghana.
Now I'm looking down from up in the sky. I don't quite get how I've been without you for all this time. Good God, I'm bent out of shape now. You got a body like a model. You got a body that you always find. Open up a bottle, and baby you can have whatever you want. You taste so sweet, I can't help myself. You like candy, you like liquid honey. You taste so sweet, I can't help myself. You like candy, you like liquid honey. Oh. We're moving places I can't control. I don't know how.
Instrumental in PSGH and YPG activities. Right from the inception of YPG, Joel Abaka Anaman was there in Abu Dhabi. He was part of the founding members. As I said, he's a career coach, a pharmacist with background in pharma sales. He's worked with Merck and P&G, that's Procter & Gamble. He owns Career Wheel, and he's directly supported 300 plus professionals. Not only pharmacists, this includes people in tech and those who are looking to change jobs or change industry. Some of these professionals have successfully unlocked different levels of satisfaction. He's helped them secure six-figure dollar salaries and in compensation packages. He's deeply passionate about leveraging innovation. He's data-driven, and he's looking to design solutions for individuals and businesses. So right after this session, if you have any career-specific or tech-specific problem or issues, you can contact him and he'll be there to support you. So at this point, let's welcome, with a round of applause, Farm Joel Abaka Anaman.
That was a very big one. Tamale Kaula. I don't like the energy. Tamale Kaula. Awesome, awesome. So today we are going to have a pretty much interesting session. I was told to develop something on building resumes, but there are some fundamental issues that I'll be tackling. And as she's rightly said, what I'll be talking to you about are things that I have engaged about 300 plus professionals on across several industries and across several levels. So, IT, can you please help me project? Great. Please, can you see the screen? Is it clear enough? Kindly confirm for me with a wave. Fantastic. Thank you very much. So we are going to look at task-oriented versus outcome-oriented, because this is the bottom line of every CV, every interview, every cover letter, every negotiation process that you're going to go through. This is the same framework that you'll be using. So I'm going to run us through the various fields of pharmacy practice. We'll be talking about the tasks and then be looking at the outcomes, right? So the tasks that you see on your job description, and then how you should probably word it on your CV. So there's a hospital pharmacist, right? Is it eligible? Can you read from the screen? Okay, then probably I have to do the reading. So from a hospital pharmacist perspective, it says your job is to contribute to pharmaceutical service delivery to patients by initiating pharmaceutical interventions. But on your CV, it's going to sound like you spearheaded 76 drug, and drug disease interventions, 32% of which were classified as life-saving. This enhanced the quality of pharmaceutical service delivery to patients. So as you can see, that's the difference. Your job description says you are supposed to champion pharmaceutical interventions, but on your CV, it's going to look like you have spearheaded 76 drug, and drug disease interventions. Now let's look at community pharmacy. So for community pharmacy, you see something like manage medication stocks effectively to reduce losses due to medication expiry. That is what you would see on your job description, right? But if you are looking at representing that on your CV, it should read like built a database of 100 plus medications and their expiration date to inform a first expiry, first out stock liquidation strategy across 2 branches. This prevented losses in excess of 10,000 Ghana cedis. These bullet points are not made up. They're actually colleague pharmacists that I had to coach to bring out these outcomes. So we are literally looking at how you can convert your tasks to outcomes. Now let's look at a medical representative. I'm an ex-European, so this is my field. So as a medical representative, you are told to grow and assign portfolio using varying strategies and skills to engage healthcare practitioners. But on your CV, you are going to look at the outcomes of what you did, right? And in this case, you are looking at saying you grew a portfolio of 1 specialist and 4 consumer products by engaging healthcare practitioners using consultative selling skills to achieve a 71% growth in 2020 and a 58.1% growth in 2021 amidst COVID. And it goes on and it goes on and it goes on. We are out of time, so let me just skip these sessions: regulatory, industry, and academia. But let's look at something. The resume is just a byproduct, right? The resume is just a byproduct. That's what a lot of people do not know. So we are going to understand what is the actual product. Whether you are job hunting or you are targeting a promotion, it's actually a sales process. So you're actually supposed to sell your value. Everybody knows what a community pharmacist does, right? You fairly know what a community pharmacist does. Any response? Oh, I can't hear you. Do you know what a community pharmacist does? Fantastic. And everybody knows what a hospital pharmacist does. But what they don't know is what you did differently in your role. So you working as a community pharmacist in ABC Pharmacy, we want to understand how you're able to add value. And it is based on that you can negotiate. It's based on that you'll be able to sell yourself outstandingly in an interview. So who is the product? You are the product, right? And then who is the buyer? The employer is the buyer. So the employer has a budget and they want to pay you for your services. So you need to ensure that you as a product, you are serving yourself very well. Now, how do you know the buyer's needs? Before you sell to someone, you need to understand what they need, right? And there's one thing that you can use to understand the buyer's needs, and this is the job description. Unfortunately, I've seen a trend in community pharmacy. It's always on the WhatsApp platform. Local pharmacists needed here, superintendent pharmacists needed here. The job descriptions are never stated. And that is the beginning of unmanaged expectations or unbalanced expectations. So you get into the role and your scope keeps expanding and you are angry. You ask for a salary rise, your boss is not happy with you, you're also not happy. The next year, you're ready to switch to a new pharmacy. Am I lying? Exactly. So that is the fundamentals. The job description dictates what you are supposed to do, and it dictates what the buyer needs, which is your employer. Now, what is your marketing material? Your marketing material is your resume. Great. So now we are going to look at this cycle. There's this cycle that we identify, working with all the 300 people that we work with. We discovered that a lot of people do this high jump technique, right? When they are ready to build their resume, they just want to go straight to communicating their value on the resume without going through certain stepwise approach. I am going to take you through this stepwise approach. These are approaches that has helped people, even out of pharmacy in the tech space, land as much as 108,000 US dollars right here in Ghana. So let's look at these 4-step approaches. The first one is recognizing your difference, right? You can't jump straight to go and talk about how much value you can bring to the table if you yourself, you've not been able to recognize the kind of value that you've delivered. So you're asking yourself, what are the unique outcomes of your work? You are moving away from, I dispense medications to patients, to thinking about what are the healthcare outcomes, or what is the revenue increase for the pharmacy that I'm working with, or what's the customer satisfaction score. So those are things that we'll be looking at. The next step is quantifying the difference. So if you are able to identify that, okay, I've added this value, it does not end there. The reason for quantification is that it makes things very tangible. If I tell you I'm a very rich man, and I tell you I have $1 million in my account, which one sounds real? I mean, assuming I'm saying the truth, I don't have $1 million in my account. So that whenever you use numbers, it makes things very quantifiable. So after talking about, recognizing the difference, the value that you've brought to the table, the next step is to add numbers to it, to quantify it. Then the third step will be recalling the difference that you've brought to the table. So I've seen a lot of people, trust me, you talk to someone and the person tells you, oh, I've not done anything insightful, I've not done anything impactful. But then after having one-on-one engagement with them, you realize that they do a lot of things and then they forget about it. So that's one key thing that we also have to know, that we have to constantly document what we do, whether we're working in a community pharmacy, in a medical rep, etc. Because these are the things that you would use to ask for a salary raise or negotiate. You can't just say you should get a salary raise because you're a community pharmacist, or because PSGH said we should raise the basic rate, right? You need to communicate from a point of value, the value that you are able to deliver. Then finally, we come to the last step of communicating the difference. And this is where you put everything in a CV, you put it in your cover letter, you communicate that in an interview. When you're negotiating, you negotiate with those content. So a lot of people jump to step 4 without going through the first 3 processes: recognizing the difference that you bring to the job, quantifying it, and recalling it. And in this presentation, I'll take us through the various steps, how we can recognize our difference, how we can quantify it, and how we can communicate it. So there's this mnemonic that we use at Career Hill, the organization that I'm a founder of. We call it AppScript, right? It's unfortunate that the slide is not so clear, but I'll mention it out to you. Why did we come up with this framework? We realized that when you talk to people, they'll tell you, I've not done anything insightful, I've not done anything impactful. So we assessed all the people that we engaged, and then we looked at all the impactful things that we did, and then we put them into categories, right? So I'm going to run you through these 8 categories. And if you see yourself in the shoes of any of these categories, you have delivered value in your organization. So the first one is awards or recognition, right? Awards are not given in vacuum. You won't be awarded as the best worker for nothing, right? So if you are given an award, it's for you to drill down and understand, why am I being given this award? Is it because I broke a sales record? Is it because I have an outstanding work ethic? Is it because maybe I'm able to motivate the team, right? So whenever you have an award or recognition, see that as value. At least that's quite easy for us, right? It's something that we already know. Then the next one is problem solving. Whenever you solve a problem, let's say you are working in a community pharmacy and constantly you are ordering medications, the medications are always delaying, they come 1 week later. But you have been able to source certain suppliers, and then eventually you're able to reduce that 1 week to, like, let's say 2 days. So the moment you order the medication, The product comes in, you give it to the patient, and the patient is excited. That's a problem that you've solved, right? So that's also a value that you can put on your CV that you've delivered. Then the next one is people development and management. Why is that important? Because an organization thrives on its people, right? If the workers are not happy, if the workers are not happy, the organization cannot grow. Because if you have disgruntled workers and then customers come in and they are not able to interact with them, that is a no-no, right? So if you are able to participate in anything people management, talk about hiring. So you probably, helped your pharmacy hire an MC, or you work as a rep. You probably assisted your manager in drafting a job description and sourcing talent. Those are valuable things, right? So there are things that you can add to your resume. If you are a manager, you are constantly coaching people. You are constantly mentoring people and taking them from point A to B in their skill set. That is something valuable that it's possible that you can put on your resume. Then we go to the next one, which is scope expansion. So going beyond your job description, right? So your job says A, B, C, D. But because you are very purpose-driven and you are mission-driven, you decide to go E, F, G, H, right? To ensure that you are delivering whatever service you are supposed to deliver in your capacity, whether you're in the industry, whether you're in academia, etc. That can also be recognized as value. The next one is record setting. So we've done app script, right? We've done A for award, P for problem solving, P for people development, SC for scope. The next one is record setting. So what's a record? You do something for the very first time. The organization that you're working with or the pharmacy that you're working with has never done that before. That is a record, right? Maybe you brought up an initiative that saved the company a couple of money or saved them expiries and all of that. It is worth highlighting that in your resume. Then the next one that I'm mostly passionate about is improving operations. Improving operations. How things work in the pharmacy. So maybe you realize that when patients walk in, the way they are attended to is not the best. So you decide to maybe train your people on customer satisfaction or customer service, how they should deliver, some kind of impactful service to the patients, right? And then you go ahead and track how it's impacting the customer. So on a regular basis, maybe you have a one-on-one conversation with the client on a scale of 1 to 10. How satisfied are you? It is as basic as that, right? If you don't add numbers to these things, it becomes very difficult to understand whether someone is really, excited about your service or not. And it's the same way that when you go on an online shop, maybe you go on Jumia, you go on Gigi, you would see these star ratings, right? It's a way of measuring satisfaction. Because satisfaction is not really tangible. It's not like money that you can count, right? Or it's not like expiry, or it's not like medication stocks that you can count. So in that instance, you would have to run a basic survey by asking a person, how do you feel this way on a scale of 1 to 10? And it brings out, the insight. So you can improve operations, metrics, and systems, and that helps you to preach your value. Then the next one is project collaboration. I'm sure a lot of people would say, oh, I've never done a project before. But a project really is something that has an activity that has a definite beginning and an end. And there's a business value to it, right? That is what a project is. So if you found yourself doing anything that has a definite beginning and an end, then that's also something that you've contributed value to. Then the last one is what we are most familiar with, targets, right? We are very familiar with targets, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. So in thinking about all of these, you need to think about who is it benefiting. Is it benefiting the organization? Is it benefiting the clients or stakeholders that interface with the organization? Is it benefiting employees? These are the stakeholders that bring value to the business, because if the organization is running properly, then you can bring in more profit. If you have clients happy, they are going to pay and they are going to bring in more money. If employees are happy, there's enough motivation, they are going to serve clients and it's going to bring in more money. So you have to think about app scripts within that framework. Then now you have to quantify the difference. Now, when it comes to quantification, you need to understand what your role is like, right? Now, there are organizations or roles that are mission focused. So, for example, if you work in a hospital pharmacy, your mission is that you are helping patients to get better. If you work in a medical, as a medical representative, you are thinking about marketing, you are thinking about revenues. If you are working in a wholesale, you are thinking about revenue. So you need to understand what type of organization you are in and what type of role you are in. But the bottom line is that every business values these 4 things. It's either you are bringing in money, or you are reducing the rate money is going out, or you are saving time, you are making things more efficient, or you are reducing risk, right? So bringing in money is like making more sales. Reducing money outflow is like preventing expiries. Saving time is like looking at ways that you can serve your patient faster and better so that your patients are satisfied. And managing risk, you can look at it from the expiry point, or maybe insuring your pharmacy. Your pharmacy has never gotten an insurance before, but what happens if the pharmacy burns down today? You get the point. That's a risk management approach. So these are things that you can quantify and then use that to preach your value. They are telling me I have some few minutes more, so I'm just going to wrap up soon. So in communicating your difference, we've talked about recognizing your difference, quantifying your difference, and communicating. So in communicating your difference, you need to understand what your buyer needs, and that's what the job description is, right? And then you have to understand, okay, if my buyer is saying that they need someone who has maybe counseled patients on different medications, it's stated in the job description, you need to sit down and tell yourself, okay, what difference have I made in this area? If I've counseled patients, how many interventions have I made, right? If you go to the pharmacy and are going to talk to the proprietor and you want to negotiate, you won't talk about the fact that you've just been doing counseling, because that's a task. You have to look at it from the outcome perspective. So I did this counseling. Between this period and that period, I did about 100 counseling sessions. And out of that, I identified maybe 50 drug interventions. And I made sure that I implemented them. And through that, our patients are able to come in more. That is you talking from a point of value. If you go in and then you feel like, oh, because I'm a pharmacist, I do counseling and that is it, then you sound like everybody, right? You don't stand out. So that is the point that you have to use to communicate your difference. Then you have to sell yourself away. So there's this basic format that we use for, all our resume bullets, right? So if you're writing a resume bullet, think about it this way. You achieved this difference by doing what the buyer needs, which is the employer, using so and so competencies. So let me say, if I tell you that I achieved a 10% increase in revenue, that is the difference that I've brought, right? Maybe by engaging patients in a consultative way. That is you talking to the buyer's needs, right? Using what skills? Using excellent communication skills, using empathy. So that way, you're not only communicating what you brought to the table, which is increasing revenue by 10%, but you're also communicating how you did it and the skills that you used in the process. We'll be wrapping up shortly, but this was a slide I wanted to show with regards to mapping out, when you see a job description, how to identify what the buyer needs, which is your employer, and how you would sell yourself towards that. But I'll skip that and then go to my last but one slide. This talks about the type of differences that you can make in your workplace, right? So I've categorized it into 3 places. We have strong difference, soft difference, and then scope definition, and I'll explain. Strong difference is when you're able to talk about strong outcomes. I've implemented 76 drug interventions. I've increased revenue by X%. I've been able to grow the portfolio by 58.8% amidst COVID. Those are strong differences because they connect directly to the business, right? And then when you take it a step lower, we have something called a soft difference. So the soft difference is when you've done something, but you didn't really quantify it, right? So over here, I have the case of an industrial pharmacist. The person says they developed 25 SOPs, which is standard operating procedures, for newly introduced and existing procedures, and revised 25 existing ones to standardize and streamline pharmaceutical production. Standardizing and streamlining pharmaceutical production is great, right? But if I'm looking at it from an employer's perspective, I don't want to only hear streamline. What exactly did you streamline? The SOPs, did it save us time? Now, maybe we're using 1 hour to produce 1,000 tablets. But because of the SOP that it developed, we are using 30 minutes. That means across every day, I'm saving 30 minutes on my production. That is a lot of man hours, right? And those are the things that you need to communicate. So this is a soft difference because it does not talk about the outcome. It just talks about, streamlining the pharmaceutical production. So that's just an overview of that. And then the last one is scope definition. So scope definition is the worst case scenario. I call it quantifying your scope, right? So if you've not even seen your outcomes, you've not tracked your impact and all of that, worst case scenario, if you are laying down your roles and responsibilities, add numbers to anything countable. If you serve 100 patients in a day, don't say that you are serving or you are counseling patients. Say that you are counseling 100 patients. So that if you come to me and I have maybe, my pharmacy is like 50 patients, 20 patients, I know that, okay, this person can handle a lot of work, right? So it's someone I'm looking for. And it goes on and it goes on. So I am going to send this slide around, but this is how a resume structure is basically supposed to look like. That's what I'll be ending with. You need to have a professional summary, you need to have a skill section, you need to have a work experience section, and you need to have an education section. That's basic. Other than that, you can add your research, your publication, your awards, based on who you are selling to. So if you are selling to an academia person, you need to show more of your research. You don't need to show more of your increasing revenue and all of that, because the academics are more concerned about your knowledge contribution. If you are coming to the repping field, you need to tell me about how you are saving targets, right? Or you are meeting targets. You don't need to tell me a lot about how maybe you are counseling patients and all of that, because I am more revenue driven because it's a pharmaceutical marketing field. Yes, so that brings us to the end. All I want to say is that when you're building a resume, remember that it's a sales process. It's a sales process and you are the product. The resume is only a byproduct. You need to sell yourself with your resume. You need to prioritize your resume content by constantly documenting it. You need to have an outcome-oriented mindset over a task-oriented mindset. And then your difference makes a difference. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Please do it better for him. Wow. Thank you, Farm Anaman, for allowing us to drink from your great well of insight. Have you learned something today? Are you sure? Have you learned something today? Yeah, if I've not learned anything, I've learned that it goes beyond myself. It goes beyond talking about me. It's about the impact I'm bringing to whichever facility or whichever place I am going to. So when you're able to highlight on those things, you do a great job and you eventually get selected. So Unicom is going to give us a love sharing experience. It's called Pop, Taste, and Pass On. So they're going to pass through with some lozenges. When it gets to your turn, you just pop, taste, and pass on. Okay, so we have a special person in our midst, but I wouldn't do the honors of introducing him. I would call upon the vice chairperson of YPG to do us those honors. Please welcome her with a round of applause.
Thank you, Ella. Thank you, everyone, for staying with us. We are grateful for your presence and for your time, of course. If you noticed, we've been joined by the president of the Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana. There's no one with a higher position here at this moment. Our president is also the grand patron of the Young Pharmacists Group of PSGH. He's vibrant, he's driven, he's very passionate about young pharmacists. He's always asking, so YPG, what are you doing? YPG, help me. YPG, what can I do for you? And right from his manifesto, during his campaign, he had a lot of activities lined up for the pharmacists. He's been very instrumental in our stakeholder engagement, and from time to time, he offers direction and guidance. We are very privileged to have in our midst His Excellency Farm Samuel Kodonko. Please let's give it up to him. He's doing an amazing job. He's indeed the doer. Let's do more for him. So later on, we'll take a word from our very own president. And at this moment, we would like to take the presentation from our sponsors. We are grateful.
Okay, please, how many of us know that we have a credit union? Please show by hand if you know we have a credit union. Wow, I can literally count the number of hands. And for those hands that were raised, how many of us have accounts with the credit union? I'm seeing only 3 hands. Wow. And those of us with accounts, how many of us have money in those accounts? Okay. Wow. So of all the people that are here, there are only 2 people that have accounts with the credit union and have money in those accounts. This is interesting. So we have our very own Farm Paul Donko from the credit union. He's going to tell us about the union and how it's of benefit to all of us. Let's welcome him with a round of applause, please.
Good morning, colleagues. I have here with me Accounts Officer Michael Ochre to lead us through today's presentation. Michael, please take over.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Am I permitted to step down and get closer to the audience? Is that fine? Okay, thank you. So, I think the laptop is, let me do it here. My name is Michael Ochre, and I'm here to present to you the credit union. Okay, so from the engagement, I realized that very few of us are aware about what the credit union does, or whether indeed we exist, and the concept of the credit union. So quickly, because we don't have time, the credit union, what we do is to mobilize resources from members, and then we pull them all into a particular pot, and then we use it to help each other in times of need. So if you can see the slide, there is a certain pot whereby members are doing contributions in the form of savings into it, and beneath it you can see a bucket being filled where loans are being distributed amongst members. Right, so let us go straight into how we can become members. I believe that everybody in the auditorium is a pharmacist, and once we are pharmacists, and this is a pharmacy credit union which has the interest of pharmacists as our primary aim. So it is indeed good for us to join once we are all young pharmacists who are aiming to improve upon our livelihoods. I believe that most of us here have the intention of owning our own companies. I am particularly impressed about the earlier speaker who was teaching us how to prepare our resume. And so while we do that in engaging people with companies to employ us, we also have the aim of having our own company. So how do you join? One, you have to be a registered pharmacist in Ghana. Registered pharmacist in Ghana. Non-pharmacists working with pharmacy-related institutions are also pre-qualified to join as members. And then others who are pre-qualified to join as well. Now, to join the credit union, you need to pay up a minimum share of 300 Ghana cedis to join the credit union, and have an initial savings of 30 Ghana cedis or more, and then you pay an entrance fee of 30 Ghana cedis as well. So as we are here, if you have 360 Ghana cedis, you can just walk to the back. We have our stand where you can easily pick up a registration form, and then you fill it out and give it to the ladies there. So which services do we render to our members? In the term of loan, we give personal loans, consumer loans, emergency loans, import support loans. And for the purposes of our meeting here, I would like us to focus more on the vehicle finance loan. The reason being that as young pharmacists, we all aim at getting a certain dream car of ours. And getting that dream car being financed by the credit union, there is a simple thing that you need to do. Just pick up a form today, register today, and in 2 years' time, when you are matured as a member, then you can own your dream car that we have financed for you. If I say you have matured as a member, that doesn't mean from the day one that you register, you cannot acquire any loan. It is only for the vehicle loan that you have to become a member for 2 years before you qualify. But indeed, if you become a member today, in 3 months' time, you can apply for your first loan with a credit union. You can take a personal loan to finance your career development. You can take a personal loan to support your income needs at any point in time. We also have savings products that you also have to do for yourself. And at this point, let me also focus on our new baby on the block, which is the kiddie savings account. It is important that once we have started having babies, we start the savings for them as well, so that in times of need, we can use that money to finance it. I know some of us have accounts with banks that you operate already for your children, but once we are pharmacists, it is very important that we all bring our resources together so that we can use it to help each other. Now let me move quickly to other products that we have. We have fixed deposits, we have sinking fund, and then once you become a member, we pay free life savings insurance for you. And then every loan that we give you also, there is an insurance premium that we pay on it. What that insurance premium does is that once you are not able to pay the loan in terms of death or any certain that happens, then the insurance company would pay back the loan. Now, how do you become a member of the credit union? Membership of the credit union for not less than, for the car loan, I already mentioned, you have to be a member for not less than 2 years. And you have to be in good standing. If I say good standing, once you become a member today, you probably will have your first loan for which we will have to use to build a credit score for you. So it is the credit score that we have built for you as a person that will tell whether you are in good standing or not. And then also, who are we targeting? We are targeting members who are gainfully employed and needing vehicles to help with their mobility. Members operate in operation of their own pharmacy businesses, needing vehicles in terms of distributions. We could even start with motorbikes and all that for your, dispatch of medication and all that. So let me also highlight a bit on the kiddie accounts. Like I said, the child has to be between the ages of 1 and then 18. And the parent has to be a member of the credit union. So once you become a member, then we would encourage you also to have an account for your child as well. For the kiddie account, the minimum deposit is 20 Ghana cedis. So those of us who are members already, I would encourage you to open a kiddie account with just a minimum of 20 Ghana cedis for your children. And then there should be a minimum maintaining balance of 50 Ghana cedis. Right. So let me end by sharing our telephone numbers that you can see on the screen. We have 3 branches. The head office based in Accra. We have a branch in Kumasi that serves the southern sector, and then we have a branch in Takoradi as well. Okay, so I am sure you see on the screen now the telephone numbers and then the contact. For transparency's sake, we have a website where you can find all our reports, our AGM reports and all that are on our website. And you can also access all our forms online. You can access the membership application form. You can access our withdrawal form. You can access our fixed deposit form. All of them, you can find them online. When you go to www.gcpculgh.com, you'll find all the forms there. You download the forms. You don't need to come to Accra head office. You don't need to go to Kumasi office or Takrady office. We have a WhatsApp number that is very active and interactive. Once you fill out your form, you take a picture of it, you put on the WhatsApp number that is there. We will serve you. If you need your deposit to be made in terms of mobile money, we have an MTN number as well, which we have put out. And so you can do your mobile money deposit. You can also do withdrawals through your mobile money. And then once you apply for any withdrawal and then we accept it, we just do the withdrawal for you. We go as far as going into depositing into members' bank accounts for them once they do withdrawal. And every withdrawal that you do on mobile money is supposed to be not more than 5,000 Ghana cedis. Anything above 5,000 cedis will give us an account and then we pay into it for you. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak to the audience. I'm grateful. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sure some people want to know what the interest rate is and how better it is than the banks.
Good. So currently, the commercial banks are not doing less than 28, 29, 30% or more. But when you take a loan with the credit union, we give you as low as 20% per annum. So it is very, very cheap for you to take advantage of. Any other question, please, from the audience? Thank you so much for the opportunity. We are at the back of the auditorium. Our stand is there. If you have any further questions, kindly come closer and then we'll respond to it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. So if our sponsors are ready, we'll take your presentation now. Kindly mount the stage, please. We'll be having a question and answer session, so you can take note or put down your questions, and whoever it's addressed to will channel it through us and then give you the feedback or response. Let's welcome our sponsors, please, with a round of applause. So our beautiful lady here will introduce herself. She's from Sanlam. So what do you do?
Okay. Good morning. I wouldn't want to go ahead of the presentation, so I'll answer your question even as we start. So good morning once again, and thank you all for the opportunity to be here. I don't know if the screen is projecting. Okay, great. So next slide, please. All right, so today we share the thoughts of a very famous philosophist, Paul Abramowitz, who says that today pharmacists are an essential part of every healthcare team and are recognized as drug therapy experts. At Sanlam, we are also saying that for every pharmacy seated here and those online, you deserve the right to live with confidence. And that's why we are here today. There's a short video that we would like you to watch, so just a second. Okay, sorry about that, there are some technical hitches. So basically what we are telling you is that our slogan is to live with confidence. And what do we mean by this? Yes. So this is our 3 points advantage. One, we are a business or we are a company that has over 22 billion US dollars in terms of business. And then we have an operation profit of over 1 billion US dollars. We also employ over 600,000 people all over the world. And so we are trying to tell you that, yes, Sanlam is the biggest Pan-African insurer. We have footprints in 33 African countries. We also have presence in Europe, UK, Asia, and then America. So what we have done today is to look at what you do as pharmacists. We recognize that you play a very important role in our economy because you also employ quite a significant number of the workforce. And so for every business, let's not forget that you spend a lot of time, you spend a lot of money, and it takes much of your perspiration. So for anything that has such a great magnitude, it means that you need to take steps to protect that investment. So if you look at your business now, should there be a loss, whether physical loss, a financial loss, or any interruption in your trading, it means it's going to have a very huge impact on the business. And so I'll be very surprised if anyone here wouldn't want to take steps to make sure that they have protection for that which they have really very much sweated for. So that's why we are here to introduce to you Pharma Secure. So what's Pharma Secure? It's basically a commercial policy that is designed for small and medium scale pharmacies. We also have cover for large pharmacies as well. And what we are doing is to look at your most frequently occurring risks. So I'll explain that in my next slide. So if you look at this, if you look at your pharmacy shop right now, what are the most frequently occurring risks? There's a risk of fire, risk of burglary. There's a risk if there's a storm and the building comes down together with your stock. Explosion, if there's a flood and you lose your stock as a result of that. That's the main focus of Pharma Secure. So it's covering your stock. And that means that even if the building that you have housed your pharmacy is not yours, there can still be insurance protection for your stock of medicine. If the building is yours, the building is also covered against all these perils that I have mentioned. So this is the basic cover for Pharma Secure. But we give you more. We've thrown in some insurance covers that are required by law. So if you take a cover like public liability and professional indemnity, they are legal requirements. Once you operate a public place, you need to get a public liability insurance. What does this do? It means should any visitor walk into your pharmacy or a client or anyone you do business with and there's an accident or there's an injury, it's your responsibility or you are legally liable to pay for all those kind of losses. So there's public liability cover in there. There's also professional indemnity cover we have thrown into Pharma Secure. Professional indemnity means that should you make some errors or omissions which are as a result of your practice as a pharmacist, maybe you mistakenly prescribe a wrong drug or you didn't see the drug properly on the prescription, and the person decides to make a legal claim against you in court, then professional indemnity cover will come to pay for that. So this is just a pricing scenario. Most people don't want to go in for insurance because I'm sure you are thinking it costs you a fortune. But we've just done a simple scenario because of time. Let's just say that you have stock of medicine in your pharmacy shop that costs you a total of 325,000 Ghana cedis. The premium that you are going to be paying or the cost for the insurance, which covers the fire, the storm, explosion, professional indemnity, public liability, and all the others, is just 1,625 this is just a small price to pay. So this means that if anything happens to your stock, 325,000 cedis will be paid back to you by the insurer. So you can be at peace to concentrate on your business, and we cover you. All right, so this is another scenario, so I'll just skip that. So this, in consultation with some of the leadership of the PSGH, we've also recognized that as a group, we can do something for you in terms of the professional indemnity, because it is a key cover for all professionals. So we put up this product called Surely Pro, which is a group professional indemnity cover intended to cover every single member of PSGH. I've already explained a bit about what professional indemnity covers, so I wouldn't go too much. But generally what this means is that should every member come together and make a small contribution every year for professional indemnity, then you are automatically covered because of the association. So you don't have to, as an individual, go in and take cover for yourself. Should you have any legal suit brought against you, the association has covered you and it will be taken care of. So we have two degrees of cover. We have one that's 50,000 cedis, maximum payout. So if your legal bill or your legal responsibility is 50,000, the insurance will pay it. If it's 40,000 and you took a 50,000 cover, then you are within cover. But if it's, let's say, 60,000 and you have a 50,000 cover, it means insurer will pay 50,000 and then you just have to cough 10,000 extra. We also have 100,000 cedis cover. So this is going to cover your professional neglect, libel and slander, breach of confidentiality. A client can sue you for giving information about them that you shouldn't have disclosed. So all these are covered under professional indemnity. So briefly, that's about us. Sanlam also has other insurance policies. We actually have a stand here. We do motor insurance, goods in transit, marine insurance, money insurance. So if you keep a lot of money in your pharmacy shop and you want it covered against armed robbers and all that, we have cover for you. So thank you very much. And I don't know if we are taking questions.
Okay, thank you. Please let's give it up for her. She's told us so much. Or you're not interested? Exactly. So please let's give it up for her one more time. Yeah. So please, she will still be available. Should you have any questions concerning the presentation she gave, so you can see her for further clarification. So at this juncture, we have an address from the most important person in this place at this particular moment, the gentleman of the occasion, the president of the Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana. After him, we would have our mentee session and our Q&A. Shall we rise to our feet as we welcome him to give his address?
Thank you. Okay. Please let's have our seat. Good morning to everyone. YPG and the YPG executives, thank you for inviting me to be part of your program. It makes me, at least once you are with the YPG group, how do you feel? You feel younger. It makes you feel you are so fresh and you are so young. So for this particular moment, I'm proud to be a very young person amongst your midst. Yes. And I also would want YPG members to know, especially for the young ones who are yet to join YPG or to take YPG seriously, that the Young Pharmacists Group or YPG is not just a creation of the Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana. The YPG Group is a creation of the Federation of International Pharmacists, what we call FIP. So you just have to take notice that this is recognized internationally by the mother body of all pharmacists in the world. If you're a pharmacist and you belong to the category of young pharmacist group, but you don't play an active part there, please, from today, I will encourage you to be an active member of YPG. I also encourage you to be able to support your executives. The reason is PSGH recognizes YPG, and therefore the YPG chairperson is a member of the governing board of the Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana. He is the mouthpiece of the young ones. And therefore, if you have any grievances, you have any problem, we would listen to the YPG chair who represents you on the governing board. For this, I would encourage all young pharmacists to try as much as possible to be aligned with the YPG group. My personal advice to young pharmacists will be that when you come out of school, we were just taking through how you build very solid and very good CVs to look for job. But why do you work? Why do you seek employment? Is it just to earn money? A lot of people are looking for jobs just because they want to make money. They want to earn money. But that attitude is something that I would want all of you to have a change. You don't work to earn, but you work to learn when you come out of school. So instead of making it working to earn, make it working to learn. The learning eventually will make you earn because you build expertise. You get a kind of knowledge. You develop your skills, and that is what will give value to you that eventually will make you earn the money. So please have this attitude when you go into an employment. When you are in a job, once you notice that you are learning, there's something you are picking up. Even if the salary is not that good, you know that you are making an investment for the future. It happened to a number of us who went through the working cycle. It's happened to so many pharmacists when you speak to them. And that is why, in the wisdom of the Standing Executive Committee of the Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana, we created the Mentorship and Capacity Building Committee. That committee we created purposely to address the issues of YPG. If you notice, mentorship is key. Why do you need mentors? Because they have been there, they have learnt it, and you don't need to struggle and make all the mistakes that these ones made before they eventually got to a certain point. Go to them and get free knowledge. Go to them and learn from the experience curve that they have. So when you hear about mentorship that we are trying to do, when you hear about capacity building, it's all for you. You want to be a community pharmacist. Identify pharmacists who are in community pharmacy and go to them. How did they do it? Not just that, you want to be a successful medical representative. Who are those who have done it and have been successful? What can you learn from them? Have a mentor. Go to him. As a medical representative, there was one pharmacist I always looked up to, and I was proud always to say that he was my mentor. For those who know him, we call him Big Brother Charlie, who was Charles Donto. The first day I saw him present a product as a young pharmacist, a medical rep, I said, I want to be like him. And he wasn't just a medical representative for our pharmacy I've joined. He was a country manager. I said, I want to be like him, and therefore I aspire to be a country manager. And indeed it did happen. I became a country manager of another multinational company, Roche. But he wasn't just a country manager. He became a regional manager. I said that if he's a country manager, he's become a regional manager, I want to be like him. I aspire to be like him. And I used to go to him. And I became a regional manager like Charles Donto was. So I call him Big Brother Charlie. This is the kind of thing that we want pharmacists to do. Identify the senior pharmacists. There are very successful community pharmacists here. Notably amongst them is our chief that we call TSO. He's here. Chief Lancer is here. Kumasi. Go to him and talk to him. He will be a great mentor for you in community pharmacy. As for the list, is endless. The Equity Pharmacy, the Nanaya, the Richard Odos, and all are all doing very well in community pharmacy space. How did they make it? Please get serious about mentorship and speak to pharmacists. And we want to see a situation where the young pharmacists will start owning their pharmacy. They have that dream that you want to always work. So where you are working today, you are working only to learn because you want to own your own community pharmacy. In the second year of our administration, we already started something to see what we can do to put up a package for pharmacists who want to own their own pharmacy. We are having some talk around with some various financial partners. Once we get that scheme out, we will not give it to any young pharmacist who has not learned. You should have gone through it and learned it. And therefore, when we know we are making funding available for you to be able to establish your own pharmacy, we know the pharmacy is definitely going to succeed. So the principle of working to learn, we would want to see that. And having your own pharmacy may sound very difficult, but please keep the dream. Let's take the businesses out. The trend where we always want to work for business persons should come to an end. We should be advancing or be looking at ourselves like the French-speaking countries where pharmacists own their pharmacies. And that is the community pharmacy space. Don't ask me why I'm focused so much on the community pharmacy space. Because whether we like it or not, pharmacy as a profession, is community pharmacy, is where we have the bulk of our pharmacists practicing. Whether you're a medical representative, you will end up in community pharmacy. Whether you're in gospel, you will be one day in community pharmacy. That is our profession. That is where we practice mostly. So if you start early and you identify and try as much as possible to establish your own community pharmacy, it is the best. And the trick is, don't always target Accra. Don't always target Kumasi. You're a young person. Go to certain districts and identify places where it will not cost you so much to set up the pharmacy, but there are huge potentials. Start from there, and that will be your success. Don't, because you want a shop in East Legon, you want a shop in Accra, costing you so much. How do you set up the pharmacy when you could easily go into another town where there are opportunities for you to be able to set up your own pharmacy? So in short, this is what I will tell you, that to the future, even though others may say that it doesn't look so good, for some of us we see that the future is good. Just have a right mindset and we'll be able to do it together. So at this time, I would just want to once again thank the executives of YPG for inviting me here. And I would always be there to support you in whatever situation you find yourselves. And for the FAMD class of 2021, I can't leave here without touching on your issue. Your issue is still a burning one, and we are working on it. We are addressing it. Yesterday, I had a lengthy chat with the Chief Director of the Ministry of Health. And I told him that you are not just the Chief Director of Ministry of Health, but you actually came from Ministry of Finance. So I want you to use your links in the Ministry of Finance to get it resolved. And we know where the document is at Ministry of Finance, and you know where it is. So we are still working on it, and I'm sure we'll bring a resolution to this matter. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. If you are much excited about the entrepreneurship package, kindly give it up for him once again. If you don't clap, it means that you don't want to set up your own pharmacy. Wow, okay. In that light, I would like to inform all community pharmacists who are here and those interested in the CPPA session that the session comes right after the YPG session, so kindly hold on. You would start very soon. And also note that the credit union is offering interest-free loans. So if you are interested, you could meet them right after the session for further clarification, particularly to the FAMD house officers. So kindly see them right after the session. Okay, so we are going to have our mentee session, and this will be handled by our financial secretary, Farm Joseph Nelson Adi. Kindly give it up for him.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. Thank you all for staying so long to the session. Again, I would just like to repeat that the interest-free loans are for the FAMD house officers. Okay, so you can visit the stand or the exhibition stand of the credit union, and then you can go through the process to obtain that interest-free loan. Okay. So, like YPG tradition, we usually have our quiz session. And as you would know, it is the fastest fingers quiz session. And the person that answers the questions fastest usually will win some handsome prize from our chairman over here. So I would employ everyone to take out your phones. I'm hoping everyone has a smartphone. If not, you can sit by someone who has a smartphone. Take out your phones and go to your browser and type in www.menti.com. Menti is spelled MENTI.com. www.menti.com. Okay, so if you are there, you should be asked to put in a code. Okay, and the code is 26819926. I'll repeat, 26819926. Two six eight one 9926. Okay, so we have 39, 40, okay, well, it's going up, great. I'm hoping we can get to as close as possible to 100, and then we'll start. The quiz has about 6 questions. So yeah, those online can also join. I hope someone can type in the chat box for them to see. The code is 26819926. Thank you all for joining. Awesome. We have 73, so we'll start when we get to 100. Okay, so we'll start when we get to 100. We are at 85 right now. So, yeah, I hope everyone here, it would be great to have you all join online. So www.menti.com, and you put in the code 26819926. 26819926. Okay? 97, 3 more, and then we'll start our quiz. Okay, 101, that's awesome. So what you'll notice is, I'm just going to project the first question. So look on your phones. It's best to look on your phones because that's where you see the question the quickest, and then you'll be able to answer first. So the idea behind this quiz is whoever answers correctly and the fastest wins points. Okay, and then at the end you see the leaderboard. Okay, so let's go. We have 119 participants. Awesome. Okay, so answer fast to get more points. So the first question, who is the current head of advocacy for YPG PSGH? Who is the current head of advocacy for YPG PSGH? You have your options, Kofi Frimpong Manso, Joel Anaman, Reginald Sechi Brown. So I have, okay, great. I have 98 people answering. I hope you all answered correctly. I'm really interested to see who is the fastest. Okay, so about 10 seconds more. So please put in your answers. 124, awesome, great, great. So 3, 2, 1. So the answer is our head of advocacy is the gentleman in white over there, Reginald Sechi Brown. Wow. Most of you thought Joel was there. Okay, so Joel Anaman, maybe you'd like to be head of advocacy in the near future. So, yes, so the correct answer is Reginald Sechi Brown. So I'm just going to show you how the leaderboard will look like. You'd see names over here. I will personally disqualify all the executives of YPG because, I mean, you should know these answers. So right now, the leader is... That's HR, right? Is HR here or is she online? Okay, great. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right. So this is how the quiz is going to go. So then we're going through the next questions. Okay, so question 2. We have 6 questions, so 2 out of 6. Fastest fingers. So please, like I said, look on your phones because that's where you see the question and then you answer. Let's go. So what is the social media handle of YPG? What is the social media handle of YPG? Is it at YPG, at PSGH YPG, or at YPG PSGH? I mean, we are young pharmacists. We are usually online. I'm sure a lot of you have Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook accounts. It will be great if you are all following YPG. And if you are, you should know the YPG social media handle. It's the same across all our social media platforms, and I really hope you're all going to get it correct. Young pharmacists, we are technologically savvy, so we're always on social media. It's not always looking at interesting videos. Sometimes you get information from there. So time up. Awesome. I really like that. A lot of you got this right. So it's YPG PSGH. Awesome. Great. So we'll move to the next question. So question 3. I hope HR is still in the lead. If not, anyway. So YPG has partnered with Dragnet to help educate the general public on key public health issues through a program titled, so the options are Ask Me, YPG Says, or Ask Your Pharmacist. So it's not just about getting it right. You need to be the fastest. So Ask Me, YPG Says, Ask Your Pharmacist. Is Dragnet here? Okay. So yes, YPG has partnered with Dragnet to increasingly educate the public on certain health issues. So you need to know the title of that program so you can also follow. So the answer is, time's up. Ask your pharmacist. Awesome. I see you people are getting a hang of the quiz now, so I'm getting more correct answers. I hope it stays like that to the end. Great. So the title of, the program is titled Ask Your Pharmacist, okay? So let's see the leaderboard. Okay. We should have seen, okay, great. So we'll just go straight to the next question, and then we should see the leaderboard. Okay, so question 4. Answer fast to win points. So let's just make this quick. So again, YPG PSGH has partnered with some people to train young pharmacists on the importance of a good CV. If you had paid attention to our program today, one of our speakers was here talking about how to sell yourself with your resume, looking at how you move from tax-oriented insights to outcome-oriented insights. So you would have that here. We have about 15 seconds more. Okay, so optimizing pharmacists, Dragnet, and daily optimizer. I hope you all got it right. So time's up. The correct answer is daily optimizer. The daily optimizer. Okay. Okay, so let's see the leaderboard. Let's see who is in the lead now. Okay, so the one on top now is Large. Is Large here? That's a very interesting name, Large. Okay. Oh, okay. They're Large. Okay. Leader of FAMD House Officers. Awesome. I hope you win this. Okay, so we have 2 more questions. So we have Large. I don't know who OG is, but you're very close. So you could also just overtake. I'm hoping Reginald is not the Reginald I know because he's disqualified. Daisy Gracie obviously is disqualified. Paulo Usudonko, awesome. I'm happy to see you are here. Awesome. So yes, so these are our top leaders at this point. You have 2 more questions to redeem yourself, and let's see. Fastest finger will win. So question 5. This is our last but one question. So please look on your phone screens. What is the theme for this year's AGM in Tamale? What is the theme for this year's AGM in Tamale? If you do not know the theme, Mr. President would honorably walk you out and send you back to your station, because you need to know the theme. You need to know why you are here today, okay? So the options are pharmacy profession the next decade, optimizing pharmacists for the technological age, and optimizing the pharmaceutical workforce in a rapidly evolving world. 3, 2, 1. Everyone should have this correct. If you got it wrong, I'll personally come and look for you. Okay, so the correct answer, as we all know, is optimizing the pharmaceutical workforce in a rapidly evolving world. Okay, so the last question. This is your chance to win. Anything can happen at the last question. Tamale is the capital of which region in Ghana? And we are talking about the 16 regions, not the 10 you know. Tamale is the capital of which region in Ghana? Northern region, Savannah region, or North region? This is the last question. If you haven't answered by now, you are late. So I think earlier we had HR in the lead, then Large, Paul, Donko was around there somewhere. OG2 was just there. Let's see who's going to win. You have 5 seconds more. So the correct answer is obviously the northern region, okay? Nalerigu is the capital of Savannah region. Okay, so the leaderboard, our final leaderboard. Interesting. Let's see who's on top. Reginald, obviously, if it is Reginald here, he's disqualified. The next person I saw there is Daisy Gracie, who is also disqualified. So Josephine Pokwa Menu. Josephine. Is Josephine here or she's online? Okay, so Josephine is actually our official winner. Thank you, Josephine. Thank you, everyone, for participating. And please contact me and you'll receive your prize. Josephine, please contact me wherever you are. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Josephine. So kindly contact me for whatever package we have for you. So we are rounding up. This is the Q&A session, and it will be handled by the communications lead. But before that, I would want to run through the current executives present so that you know who to target your questions at. So I am Dr. Emanuela Yae Japon, the Executive Secretary of the Young Pharmacists Group. On my immediate left is Farm Daisy Gracie Sapoma Buedu, the Vice Chairperson of the group. To the next, we have the Chairperson of the group, Dr. Richmond Ama Edriha. And then we have Farm Reginald Sechi Brown, the Advocacy Head, as you already know. We have Farm Michael Yao Asari, the Communications Lead. And finally, the person who took you through the Mentee session, the Financial Secretary, Farm Joseph Nelson Adi. Shout out to all our zonal coordinators and our committee heads, as well as the executives that were not present. Communications lead.
Thank you very much, Manuela. So we are about to end our program, but we can't end our program without hearing from our members. We are all encouraged to ask your questions. Whether your question is for YPG or it's for PSGH, you're encouraged to ask your questions, and the technical team will project the questions asked on the Hop-In app for us to see so that we can answer. If we have people in the crowd that want to ask questions, to kindly raise your hand, we'll give you a microphone, and then you ask your question and direct it to who you want to answer for you. So we have about 5 minutes for our Q&A, from which we'll go into our breakout session. Our breakout session is a continuation from our career fair from last year, and also from our lineup. If you've realized, all our presentations are about adding value to the pharmacist. So from there, we'll have our resource persons from all the career fields, from community, hospital, industry, entrepreneurship, tech, insurance, outside the auditorium. They are lined up, waiting to interact with all of you here. That's the joy of physical participation. You actually see these resource persons and pick their minds. So after the Q&A session, we invite all the people here physically present to go outside. The tables are set up, the resource persons are there, you interact with them, get valuable information on the areas you wish to enter so that you can also make a change and have impact in the pharmaceutical field. So we have a question. This came on WhatsApp. Okay, we'll still take it. And this goes to the YPG chairman. Mr. Chairman, this question goes to you. It comes from our YPG platform, YPG PSGH 4. That platform usually has the FAMD officers. So this question is for you. We heard from His Excellency that he has heard our cry and that they are working on it. Mr. Chairman, do we have any definite timeline that we should look at? Are we looking at this year, next year, or next decade? Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, thank you very much. Everything follows standard processes. And based on the interactions that we've had, the assurance has been given. I remember we had a meeting with their leaders, and the consensus was that we have followed it up. I don't know if the person also listened to the opening ceremony yesterday. The government appointee that was here heard our plea and also said that it is going to be paid. So the assurance that we have, or we can give you, is that your salaries are going to be given to you. When it comes to timelines, I am unable to tell the exact time. But one thing I'm very confident of is that we have made a mileage and a very good progress as far as this is concerned. And so your salaries are going to be given. We have done due diligence, met with all those stakeholders that are of relevance for your salaries to be given. So be rest assured.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. The second one that we have here, apologies, but we'll just take only 3 questions. There is one in the audience, and then we'll take the last one. Then we move on to the last part of our program where we've gone into the breakout sessions. Hello?
Thank you all for this session. It has been an interesting one, and we are very grateful for your work towards the FAMD House Officers appointment and payment. However, some of us have finished our house jobs and we are home waiting for posting to the public hospitals. Is there any information regarding that?
Thank you very much for your question. Yeah, I think just going to Mr. Chairman. Which one? Which one?
Hello. So per your question, that means that you are either from 2020, 2019, or 2018 batch. Yeah, so from one of the governing board meetings that we had, Dr. Joycelyn Aziz, who is the MOH Pharmacy Director, gave a claim that they are working on rolling out another forms of employment. One thing that we are very much uncertain of is the timelines. But then subsequently, it is something that has come to the light, and we'll note it down and then also follow up. However, we also have the CPPA executives and other forms. One thing that I would like us all to note is that let us all not focus or put our focus on the hospital or the government employment scheme. We can also look at other areas. Versatility is what we've been trained with. And so we have the option or the opportunity to also go into industrial practice and then the other forms of the practicing groups that we have. Right after here, you can also join the practicing group that you belong to. And let us see, YPG is there to merge, or as in have a joint voice with you to make every advocacy that is supposed to be made out to go. And so let us see how best we can support each other and then make this known that we would also want to enter into this space. For government appointment, I am unable to say it, but then PSGH is actively following up on that. However, let us also look at the other areas and let's see how best YPG can support in advancing ourselves in the other professions.
Much.
In addition to what Mr. President has said, I only would like to add a few words. So I had a very interesting experience recently in Nigeria. And what I realized was that for those who are not in the remit of employment, the Young Pharmacists Group has a pool which helps collate information on people who are both employed and unemployed. Because sometimes opportunities come and then you don't know who is currently not in active employment. So going forward, we can also harvest this information and also make it available to any organization that wants to employ. Because realistically, looking at the numbers that the pharmacy schools are producing now, the last employment MOH did was about 150 of the B farms and then 150 of the farm Ds. So it tells you that within the government setup, they cannot even absorb these large numbers. So as young pharmacists, once we have that pool of people who are not in active employment, we can leverage on some of our relationship within the pharmaceutical space, that is industry as well as RAP and other academic related opportunities. Because there are instances where sometimes you have foreign researchers, for instance, who are looking for people who are not in active employment for, let's say, 6 months part-time research work, instead of being at home. If we know you are not in active employment and these opportunities come, we can definitely hook you up for 6 months to make some stipend as you wait for any form of employment. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So, Mr. Chairman, I would like to add something.
Hello. So I would also want to mention the reason why we brought Joel Anaman over here to teach us how to write a good CV is because I've had the opportunity to also sit on interview panels. And then most of the CVs that come doesn't give you the leverage for you to be selected. And so we have taken it upon ourselves. Let us follow it up so that we know or we learn how to write very good CVs that can land us the next job opportunities that we find ourselves.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. So we have the last question coming, and then the last questions coming, and then we branch into our breakout session where we will. Okay, so.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm Propane by brand name, generic name, Daniel Anokwa. I want to ask this question. The PharmDs are supposed to do compulsory housemanship in the hospital. Then we come back to ask them to find opportunities in the industries, in the community, in the regulation after 6 years. What are we doing to them? I had the opportunity to host some students, 2 of them from US, 2 of them from Poland, 1 from Germany, 1 from France. Those in Poland, because they are not doing PharmD right from the start, they are having experience in the industry. They are having experience in the community. They are just going into the production, they are going into the regulation area, those from Germany. Those from US, because they are doing more of the clinical, are focusing on the hospital practice. Here is the case, there has been a rollout policy that even for a particular period in time, no PharmD graduates are supposed to be, B Pharm graduates are supposed to be China. We are all moving to PharmD. Now we are asking them to do the 6 years PharmD, do compulsory housemanship in the hospital, and come back to go and find their own job in Arepi or in the other areas. What are we doing about this to them? I think we should rather give innovative ways of doing this, just as we saw in the debates, other than asking them to go and find their own job opportunities. About YPG, I think we are doing something, but the advocacy team, if you look at FIP and then the reason for even birthing the YPG, then we should go ahead to get grant and support for them. For them to get opportunities in these villages, not in the cities, community concentration in Accra and Kumasi. So I think that instead of doing all these things, let's talk about what we are doing for them and not just telling them, go and find your own opportunities. One last suggestion before you answer my question. The mentorship, I don't think, the President says something about it. Going to look for a senior pharmacist to sit under his or her feet to learn. I think PSGH can take it up through YPG, identify the interest areas of these young ones right from school, assign them to the mentors, 10 or 20 students to this particular pharmacist, 10 or 15 students to this particular pharmacist, based on the interest you express right from the school, so that you get to know where you are going, and not that you finish 6 years, you are now going to sit under somebody's feet to learn repping, to learn regulation and all that. So I think maybe President can address that for us.
Thank you very much, Dr. Propane. And I'm very happy you've asked this question. I would want you to answer and then make suggestions, since you are a zonal coordinator for YPG. I'm not debunking the question that you did ask. It is of worthy notes. What I would want to add, or in an attempt to answer some of your questions, we have the capacity building and then the mentorship committee of YPG. We have realized that there is a very big gap that we need to bridge. Some may go beyond YPG, but then the ones that are within the scope of YPG, we have realized that there is the need to go back to the schools and then help address these issues that are actually affecting us. Because we've realized that we do not have to wait for us to graduate and finish school before we begin to solve these issues. So henceforth, the Capacity Building and Mentorship Committee of YPG, I think, may join with the Capacity Building and Mentorship Committee of PSGH. We are going back to the basics to see how best we can help solve. This, your question, has also come on the governing board of PSGH, and it is being looked at. Finally, I believe that through our sessions and the videos that we did bring out, we realized that we've been doing a lot of career wheel and mentorship, identifying people within our profession that have made it, and we've assigned. But I would want to say something here. There is a registration portal for YPG members. And so if you are a YPG member and you are not registered with YPG, when these names are being sent to the various mentors within our profession, you may miss out. So let us also take that opportunity and then enroll ourselves by registering so that we can help identify. We are only supporting the bit because we've had the opportunity to converge at AGM. So let us see how best we can handle this to progress YPG.
So, Propane, to add up to what Mr. President said, yes, the chairman, sorry. So, one thing that we noticed, at the risk of preempting what Arepi might discuss later today, we are definitely going back to the universities to mentor the students. So we are not waiting for them to complete the 6 years training before they find their feet outside their profession. And secondly, also, looking at the FAMD situation, one of the key lessons that came out strongly was the fact that should we necessarily force every house officer into the hospital practice? That's one of the key things that came out strongly. I must confess that this, even though this falls within the remit of the YPG advocacy group, it would take very key stakeholder negotiation strongly between the Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana as well as the Pharmacy Council. So as YPG, we are very clear in our mind as to the way forward. Just as you rightly intimated about what happens in other countries like Poland and then in Germany, where people are very clear from the 3rd year precisely where they are going to work. So there's no issue of everyone goes to the hospital at the end of the day. So this is definitely the way we are going to pursue as young pharmacists, looking especially at the numbers that are going to be produced in the next 2 years and beyond. So Propane, we are very much aware of the situation that you have highlighted, but we want you to also know that we are not resting in pursuing key solutions to these challenges. Thank you very much. Two.
Thank you. At this time, let me respond to the last question. The PSGH was brought into the picture. First of all, the Mentorship and Capacity Building Committee of the PSGH has been tasked to actually identify the mentors for mentees, but it takes 2 people to get the mentorship programs run so smoothly. It's for YPG to identify those who want to be mentees. You can't force anyone into a mentorship program. You would have to willingly say that you would want to be. And even when the mentors are there and their profiles are there, it's your flexibility to say that I want to pick this person to be my mentor. So as for the mentors, we have identified them. The Capacity Building Committee is working on them. But we would need YPG or from your end to know who the mentees are, those who are interested. Then we'll be able to do the pairing. And those of you who joined the last webinar or the last program on mentorship, that was one of the things I said in my opening remarks, that we need to do the matching or do the pairing up where you have mentees and mentors. So it's something that's of importance to us. You asked a very tricky question about why everyone will go through 12-month house job, go back to community house job. I say it's tricky because we don't have the solution now. The curriculums for the various FAMD programs were developed and they've been approved or accredited. It's an issue of review of the curriculum that the schools are using. So that's something that we have to work on it. And once you have a particular curriculum approved, it takes about 3 to 4 years or so for the National Accreditation Board to have a review. So we all have to come together and seek review of it, because we need to structure the program in such a way that those who want to go into industrial pharmacies will have an opportunity to do so. Those who want to go into other options, those are things we need to do. Because I will look at it, the 1,000 pharmacists come out, where are they all going to work? Where will the preceptors be when we know that most of our pharmacists are actually in community pharmacy? So there's really an imbalance somewhere which needs to be addressed. So I would say that thank you for bringing it up. We would be looking into it. It's an issue that we know is a problem, and we've raised it at the Pharmacy Council, especially about the curriculum, and we are also dealing with it at the various schools or institutions.
Thank you very much, President. I think Mr. Chair Richmond, Dr. Richmond, said I should propose some solutions. So adding to all that you said, I think we should start from the GPPQE, how the exams questions are set. Give options for industry questions, give option for policy questions, give option for the other portfolio questions, not strictly orthodox medications and then Law and Ethics Act 857, go and learn it. Give rooms for all these things. That is one thing. Again, we are looking for fitting solutions for our environment. We are practicing integrated healthcare system. I teach pharmacognosy. Here is the case, all the practice are orthodox based, and we go ahead to analyze and medications for these people who are on the streets, who have put some plans together, and they go on to sell it by getting accreditation from FDA. If from the scratch we can include this in our training, then these students or PharmD house officers or new graduates who are struggling can use their basic knowledge, put some formulations together, approach FDA, get accreditation. It becomes an innovation venture for them to get product. So these are some of the solutions I'm proposing, and like we said, we all come together to do all these things. I remember when we met the other time, you challenged me that you are looking for a product for me, and I'm personally working on such a product. So I think it starts from the way our exams are structured from the schools, because the way the questions are put, the way the things are done, it skews you to ignore other areas and focus in one direction. So you are put in a box and you need to fit in that box. Because at the end of the day, if I focus on the other areas and I don't pass my GPPQE, I don't become a pharmacist. So that is where I would suggest that we should also pay attention to. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So we are rounding up our session. We've gone far over time. And we have our senior most pharmacist, Farm JC, who is young at heart, giving us our final question. Prophet, please, we are very eager with your suggestions and your improvement plans. So kindly see us with your plan that we can integrate. So, Farm JC, the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you very much for this opportunity to say a few words. I'm not actually going to ask a question. I want to congratulate the chairperson for the YPG PSGH. You've done a wonderful job. And my advice to you is that the team that you have is a formidable team. Allow them to continue the job in order to set the right foundations for you. That's all I'm saying to you. Don't be struggling and harassing people for change of officers because you just want to hold a position. These guys are doing a fine job, and I'm talking to you from experience. Allow them to give you a fair foundation and carry on regardless. May God bless your endeavors.
Thank you very much, Farm JC. God bless you too. So we've come to the end of our program, but it's not the end of our program as we indicated earlier. We have our breakout sessions specially tailored for our physical guests present. So we have our resource persons out there at their stations that you can just talk to them. Capacity building team is also out there that you can interact with them. For our online viewers, unfortunately, this is the end of the line for you, but we won't leave you hanging. We'll leave you with all our achievements from 2020, which will be played, so you actually see what YPG is doing. So you actually know that whatever you are supporting is actually making an impact to change our profession, for our young pharmacists to make an impact, both at the national and local level, and even beyond, and go to the international level. At this point, we'll ask our our MC to give a vote of thanks, and we end our session. So if the technical team can help us with our video whilst we are doing that, that would be awesome.
Kaula. Tamale Kaula. Hey, nobody's responding. Tamale Kaula. Please, if you don't respond, we are not leaving. Last one. Tamale Kaula. Oh, wow. It's been an interesting session. We apologize once again for the drag in time. It was due to technicalities beyond our control, and we'll do better next time. I would like to say a big thank you on behalf of the executive body of the Young Pharmacists Group of Ghana, and on my own behalf, to our key sponsor, the PSGH President, Farm Samuel Kodonko, members of the governing board present, members of the Standing Executive Council, heads of interest and practice groups, members of the Young Pharmacists Group, leaders and members of the concerned PharmD House Officers Group, and all senior pharmacists who are young at heart and have sat through our session. We see you, we appreciate you, and we are grateful for your presence and your contributions. We've noted them down, and we'll do well to add them or incorporate them into our plans and see how much we can move both the group and then the profession. Thank you very much and have a wonderful day. Kindly note that the CPPA session follows this immediately. So if you belong to that group, kindly retain your seats or please move forward so that that session can continue. Thank you very much. And our doors are widely open. If you have any suggestions or questions, you can come to us. Thank you.
It's a group that pushes the interest of young pharmacists here in Ghana. Our mission is to develop young pharmacists who will spearhead positive change at the local, national, and international level. Our vision is to project pharmacy to increasingly become an indispensable profession.
Hello, my name is Dr. Richmond Damara, Nigeria. I'm the president of YPG PSGH, that is a young pharmacist group of the Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana. And we were launched in September 2020 during the annual general conference of pharmacists in Ghana. 2020 was a very challenging year due to the COVID-19 pandemic, but YPG were able to put through some very powerful programs. Notable among them are the breast cancer and then the World Antimicrobial Awareness Week. We were able to engage several stakeholders, including pharmacists and also the general population through various media, that is the television and then the radio, and we were able to engage so many people to campaign on how to take care of themselves. I believe that even though 2020 was a challenging year, we did make a whole lot of changes. 2021 has begun and YPG is on it again. We have done several programs to impact the younger generation, and we wish that whatever thing that we do, we'll get the support and then the mandate and also financial support from every stakeholder to make YPG very much impactful in our society. We'll be waiting for any feedback that you will have for YPG Ghana.
Now I'm looking